Welcome to this 13th edition of the Greenstorm Global Photography Award. I'm George Cora, trustee of the Greenstorm Foundation, which is a not-for-profit initiative in the area of environment protection. To know more about Greenstorm and the annual photography event, may I request the managing trustee of the foundation and founder of Organic BPS, a purpose branding company, Mr. Dilip Narayan, to take center stage. Dilip.
Distinguished Chief Guest Dr. Shashi Tharoor, jury members Pratap Sudan, Michael Little, and Aishwarya Sridhar, brilliant participant photographers from across the world, fellow trustees Anil K. Menon and George Cora, governing council and executive council members of the foundation, and my dear friends. Good evening and good afternoon. I can see guests from Kent to Kolkata, Tehran to Sharjah, Dhaka to Manila. Just in this afternoon, around 3 o'clock, I got a message from a participant photographer. I'll read the message. Thanks, I will be there if the electric power of my country is on. He's a participant from Kyiv, Ukraine. Our heart, our love goes towards them. We hope and pray that power will be restored soon and the peace will prevail soon. This internationality and diversity are very, very exciting. Especially if I look back on our initial days in 2009. The journey from a single city to 52 countries is really gratifying. At the outset, let me extend a hearty welcome to each one of you to the 13th edition of the Greenstorm Global Photography Award. From forests to farmlands, from freshwater to oceans, the vitality and diversity of our ecosystems are the basis of human prosperity and well-being. Yet, we are degrading these precious ecosystems in alarming ways. Conservation alone cannot save Mother Nature. It's high time we took positive action to prevent, halt, and reverse the loss of ecosystems. People around the world, individually and collectively, are doing restoration projects in their backyards and neighborhoods, in forests and water bodies, in cities and suburban areas. In 2021, in our 13th year, Greenstorm Foundation have decided to celebrate these human efforts and unsung heroes, to put the spotlight on the positive actions. When we all talk about climate change, we all talk about the negative and bad things. But the indomitable human spirit and the goodness resides in human beings across the world. We could see it. We invited photographers from around the world to submit stories of restoration that they may have witnessed or been part of. We are amazed at the response. It was quite reassuring, encouraging, and inspiring to see 3,519 restoration stories from 42 countries. Through the entries, we have realized that every day people are making efforts, often going beyond their means, to give back to the planet and fight climate change. There are endless ways to help, and we hope that through this award, we will inspire many more people to join in this fight for the restoration and conservation of Mother Nature. Greenstorm Foundation is a global creative conservancy formed to impact an appropriate attitudinal shift toward environment conservation among youth. Using the remarkable power of creativity, we have now reached 52 nations worldwide and has inspired over 12 million young minds in the last 13 years. The foundation is guided well by an eminent governing council and supported by an active executive council. In addition to the flagship program, Global Photography Award, the foundation organizes Eco Tales at schools. I would like to appreciate the efforts taken by the young research team in curating 100 restoration stories under the project Restoration Pigtails. We will be submitting these 100 stories to the United Nations Environment Program on World Environment Day 2022 in coming June 5th. Greenstorm was started as a CSR initiative of Organic BPS, a purpose branding company, and on behalf of the foundation, I thank the team Organic for their continued support and efforts. I fondly remember all those people who have supported the foundation in various ways. On behalf of the foundation, let me extend a hearty welcome to the green partners and well-wishers to this event. Let me welcome the curators of this award, Jury Chair Pratap, who's going to announce the winners' much-awaited result today, and jury members Michael and Aishwarya to this event. This program gets its credits from the participation of brilliant creative minds from across the world. I welcome all those photographers who submitted their entries. Let me also congratulate the 25 finalists as well. We are lucky to have a world citizen as a chief guest today. On behalf of the foundation and all of those who are present here and watching us live on social handles, let me extend a hearty welcome to Dr. Shashi Tharoor. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome each one of you to this beautiful award show. Let's restore our green lineage. Thank you.
Thank you, Dilip. This year, we have had over 3,500 entries from across the globe. The top 25 entries are showcased in a short video, which we will now play. selecting the top 25 from amongst the 3,500 entries was a huge and challenging task. To do this, we had an independent jury, the members of which are top of the line professionals in their vocations. Mr. Pratap Sutan is the chairman of our highly respected and talented jury. And I request him to declare the awards. An advertising guru with interests as diverse as geology, Pratap is a very respected ad and creative professional. After leading MNC ad firms, Pratap co-founded about a decade ago, Bang in the Middle, a very successful boutique media and creative organization. Over to you, Pratap.
Thanks, George. Let me first thank you for inviting us to this function. On behalf of my co-juries, so to say, Aishwarya and Michael, we had the pleasure of and the privilege of actually seeing unknown people, unknown places, unknown efforts of so many people who are trying to sort of heal the earth. In small ways. Some of the pictures have been very intimate in the sense they're very close to them. Some of the pictures are very broadscape, wide angle lens sort of a thing. But yet, interestingly, helping the world and awarding the winners today comes on the most beautiful day, the day of colors back in North India, Holi, right? So while we celebrate Green Earth, across the country, we are also celebrating every other color. So that's an interesting coincidence, along with the World Sleep Day, for all you know. So two different things happening today in the world. And while Michael brought in, his architectural perspective, he being a landscape person, and he works with a lot of restoration projects. I read the other day that you are very interested in boulders and stuff like that, and stonescapes. So he brought a very unique perspective to the selection, right? On the other hand, Aishwarya, she is a stunning wildlife photographer herself, who's just got awarded or being chosen into the world top 50 explorers, which is no mean task for this year. So, and along with my advertising perspective, which obviously deals with photography and images from across the world, we had a tough time. It took us about 3 to 4 months to go through all the entries. We've seen all of them close up, and at the end of it, we're very happy that our selection sort of coincided and sort of aligned with public approval as well. If I'm not mistaken, I think even the public chose the exact photographs that we homed in on finally. And while we saw the 25 top photographs, obviously there is a top 3 that we need to announce. And it's my pleasure to announce the first runner-up, the second runner-up actually, Hadi Digenpour from Iran. Gets the first second runner-up. And the runner-up comes from all the way in Philippines, from Philippines, Jofel Botero Ibiosa. I hope I got your name right. And the final, the top of the line, the number 1, the winner is Mohammad Reza Masumi again from Iran. Congratulations.
Thank you, Pratap,
Welcome.
and many congratulations to the winners. We will soon have an interactive session with the winners and the jury members. A member of the Indian Parliament, former Under Secretary of the United Nations, celebrated author, and much respected global thought leader, the very eminent Dr. Shashi Tharoor will now address us.
Namaskaram. It's a pleasure to join you this evening for the 13th edition of the annual Greenstorm Global Photography Award ceremony. My thanks to Mr. Dilip Narayanan, founder of Greenstorm, as well as to Mr. Anil K. Menon and George Kora, trustees of the foundation, for inviting me to address this distinguished gathering. Let me begin by warmly congratulating the 3 winners as well as the 25 finalists for their success today. Having just seen this video presentation, I have no doubt that the jury was left with very difficult decisions to make, given the remarkable quality and the moving and striking nature of the photographs that made it to the final round this year. Though ultimately the jury had to bring it down to 3 winners, I would say that many of the finalists would have been deserving winners, and that all of them were selected from a pool of over 3,500 entries from 42 countries across the world on the theme of Restore Green Lineage is indeed an accomplishment worth celebrating. Though there is always room for argument and other preferences, let me offer my congratulations and appreciation to the winners of this year's edition. The first prize winner, Mr. Mohammad Reza Masumi from Tehran, selected for his marvelous capture of the man-made forest in the Kalkal region in Iran. That entry was closely followed by Jofel Botero Ibiosa from the Philippines, who offered a fascinating interplay between light and shadow and of reality and imagination in his capture of the child holding a plant. And my congratulations finally to the second runner-up, Hadi Deghanpur, also from Iran, for his beautiful amalgamation of man-made creation and the power of the natural world. In matters of the environment and the crusade to raise the visibility of issues that pose an existential threat to humanity, there are, of course, no winners or losers, and certainly not in this competition, because the powerful and moving nature of many of the photographs that didn't win the top prizes certainly deserve to be celebrated. Let me take this opportunity to also congratulate the foundation for organizing this unique platform annually since its inception in 2009. Now, as many of you may know, this year's World Environment Day, celebrated on 5 June every year, is based on the theme Only One Earth. It'll be hosted by Sweden this year, an occasion made all the more special since it also marks 50 years since the Stockholm Conference on the Environment, the first of the great environmental conferences organized by the UN, as well as 50 years since the inception of the United Nations Environment Programme. To my mind, the theme is certainly timely, since it re-emphasizes a certain approach and urgency with which humanity must recognize that this planet is only our home, our only home, and as finite resources, we must strive to safeguard and use them judiciously and equitably. While policymakers, scientists, academia, diplomats all play an important role in setting out the path for us and guiding our futures, I believe that the theme Only One Earth lays a unique responsibility on photographers to help everyone realize and understand visually the fundamental, if not existential, significance that this theme fundamentally holds for each and every one of us. After all, photographs that record and capture certain moments have an incredible ability to move people and to evoke emotions and thoughts, which in turn can inspire action that can potentially change our collective futures from an environmental standpoint. While we celebrate World Environment Day on June 5th, let us not forget that the day also marks the anniversary of the iconic Tank Man picture from Tiananmen Square, which was captured on June 5th, 1989. The tank man still remains an unidentified person, an enigma, who bravely attempted to defy military might and the state that backed it by standing in front of a motorcade of tanks. The capture taken by multiple photographers, including Jeff Widener, Charlie Cole, Stuart Franklin, the capture of this specific moment, a simple nobody who sought to challenge the military crackdown in Tiananmen Square, was not only distributed worldwide to bring international attention to the crisis there, but is also today recognized as a symbol of protest against state oppression. One can imagine the great reverence and power the image still holds when one finds out that it remains largely blocked out of the internet and social media in China. Though today's gathering, fortunately, is not about state oppression, I would argue that individuals like the photographers who participated in this competition are also working towards capturing something equally important, some would say even larger, the crisis of climate change. By capturing all these majestic moments which have certainly left us in awe, through your work, you remind all of us that for all of our scientists' attempts to explore the expanse beyond our planet, it is highly improbable that the human mind, despite all its achievements, is unlikely to be able to capture the beautiful complexity created by millions and millions of years of evolution on planet Earth. While not just reminding us of our unique place in this universe, documenting instances of realities induced by climate change, such as wildfires, the rise in water level, unusual increase in the frequency of floods and cyclones, all of these things provide a stark reminder of the damage we are causing every day to our one and only home, this planet, and of course suffering from the devastating consequences of our own errors and behavior. Climate change, biodiversity loss, and pollution have all been closely identified as self-inflicted planetary crises that are closely interlinked and whose consequent effects we're already reeling from, such as excessive rains, cyclones, and extreme temperatures causing devastating floods, which we have witnessed in the last 3 years in Kerala, forest fires, which we have witnessed in India as well as Greece, Australia, the USA, and so on. And those are just a few of the notable ones. Let's not forget Brazil and the Amazon. So moreover, we're seeing all of these fires. We're seeing literally a literal fire in many places and a metaphorical fire consuming our planet. And the truth is that as per current estimates, the world seems on track for a whopping 3 degrees centigrade average temperature increase by the end of the century, which is considerably going to knock aside the goals etched in the Paris Agreement to limit the increase to 2 degrees. Combined with the devastation of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has showed us all the grave risks of the degradation to the ecosystem and a greater need for international cooperation, recent events have made it clear that there is an urgent need for system-wide transformation, both in social and economic systems, through major shifts in policy, in governance, regulation, incentives, and investment. For instance, greater emphasis needs to be put on incorporating natural resources capital accounting into decision-making and business performance, as was famously argued by John Elkin, who developed the idea of a triple bottom line, a PPP, that would actually involve prioritizing not just profit, but the planet and people. This would be the triple bottom line accounting framework that really would underpin sustainable development. At the same time, we cannot afford to forget the human element of our development trajectory, and we must prioritize measures towards reducing inequalities and the risk of social conflict arising from environmental degradation by promoting equity and recognizing community rights to property, resources, and education. Both these aspects are, of course, easier said than done. But if we are to make any progress in this regard, it would certainly require a collaborative effort. For instance, the IPCC recognizes the crucial role of NGOs and civil society groups in influencing societal debate and both global and climate policy by employing civic will to policy discourse and pushing through three direct ways: one, awareness raising, advocacy and agitation; two, filling in policy gaps through research and advice; three, create localized constituencies of change where government outreach seems limited. Through platforms such as the Greenstorm Awards, non-governmental groups like you can play an important role in translating the complex science and nuances of climate change for ordinary people, and not just for our consumption, but also in helping vulnerable, marginalized communities realize their rights and protecting their livelihoods. Though the journey ahead and the fight to preserve our environment will not be easy, as I've long argued, we in India only need to look at our past for all the inspiration and encouragement we need in this fight. Today, for example, it's easy to forget that by 1940, after nearly 2 centuries of the Raj, Britain accounted for nearly 10% of global GDP, while India had been reduced to a poor so-called third world country, destitute and starving, a global poster child for poverty and famine. But rather than melt down into chaos and indisposition, the governments of the day set aside their differences, rallied the political class together, and in alliance with the best of our civil society and grassroots pioneers of change, waged successive and indeed successful campaigns against poverty, pestilence, and even patriarchy. We may still have miles to go before we sleep, to borrow from our first Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, but we also know that it can be done. And so too can be the case with our battle for our natural environment. In a country as diverse and stratified as ours, the crisis that we are required to address every day and the crises that we have to face daily are really many. Our choice of problems and development concerns are equally multiple, and often some will have to take priority over others. But ultimately, we must recognize that the crisis of environmental degradation affects us no matter which part of the country we come from, what political and ideological affiliations we may have, what socioeconomic class we find ourselves in, and indeed, even what time of the year it may be. With its cross-sectoral implications, public health dimensions, and the impact on the economy, and the engine of that economy, the workforce of today's India, solving this crisis may well prove to be the single most important moonshot of our generation. I thank you all very much for listening to me, and I wish you a very successful event. And once again, my renewed congratulations to the photographers, not just the 3 prize winners, but all the outstanding photographers who made it to the final round. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, and let's save the planet.
Thank you very much, sir, for the very enlightening address and your words of encouragement. We will now have an interactive session with the winners. May I request Chairman of the jury, Mr. Pratap Sutan, to first join.
Yeah, I'm here.
Also request Aishwarya Sridhar, who, as Pratap said, is a young and talented award-winning wildlife filmmaker, photographer, and presenter. She will also join us. And she has worked with leading networks like National Geographic, Discovery, and BBC Earth. I would also request Michael Little, who is a qualified landscape architect from the University of Massachusetts and who runs his landscape consultancy outfit, which has executed significant public and private landscape projects in the last 15 years, including ecological parks, institutional campuses, and residential layouts, to also join us. Welcome, Aishwarya and Michael. Would also request our 3 award winners, Mohammad Reza from Tehran, Jofel Botero from Philippines, and Hadi Zegenpour from Iran, to also join us.
Yeah, I think
I'm-
Hadi is also online, but his video is not on.
Yeah, Hadi, if you could switch on the video, we could all see you too, if it's possible. I'm sure the jury would like to know more about you and your award-winning entry. Over to you, Pratap, Aishwarya, and Michael.
Okay, so let me just start it off before Michael and Aishwarya get in. Since I can't see if Hadi is online or not, let me first ask Jofel. Okay, congratulations. First off,
Thank you.
tell us about that photograph. I mean, it's a very intriguing photograph that you have there, right? It's got a flower pot, and then it's got a shadow of a child holding a flower pot. What is it that you wanted to convey? Because we took out a lot of meanings ourselves.
All right. Hello, everyone. First, I would like to express my sincerest thanks and gratitude to the Greenstorm Foundation and to the esteemed panel of judges. And I would also like to congratulate my fellow winners and finalists in this prestigious global photography festival, the Greenstorm Global Photography Festival. With regards to your question, with my entry, for me, it's a creative interpretation of the theme, Restore Green Lineage. All right, so that human shadow symbolizes the human intervention in terms of restoring the nature. So it's a child because we know that child symbolizes hope as we look forward to the future, since we're all aiming for that sustainable future. And I would like to make it kind of artistic or creative in a way, since I'm fascinated with the meanings and narrative. Especially my works is leaning towards different stories about people, about issues concerning the society, the environment, sort of that. So I tried to make it kind of different the way I interpreted the theme. And I'm happy about the result. And I'm looking forward also to my involvement into other photography competitions and exhibitions, since I want to share with the world my art, since I would like to advocate for this important issue, especially we're now facing the alarming threats of climate change.
Thanks, Jofel.
You're welcome.
If I could jump in for a second, I'd love to ask Mohammed about your fantastic photograph. You've taken us to a far-off place, a place that we've never been anywhere near, and yet it's almost like a painting as well. So it's as if you've drawn us into a gallery. And I wanted to hear something from you about your inspiration. Maybe this is a special place for you, or what was your process to arrive at this remarkable photograph?
Mom, if you have a little bit of problem with English, there is no problem. We can even ask Hadi. Hadi, can you hear us? And if you can, translate to our prize winner what Michael has been talking about. Hadi, can you hear us? I guess he cannot.
He's mute.
He's muted. Could we just check out whether he could be unmuted and he could be on? What Michael is actually trying to ask you when you took that photograph, where one, you could tell us something about the location. Where was it?
Mohammed, can you hear us?
I think he's frozen.
No. There is movement. I can see movement there, but
Yeah,
I
there is
think,
movement.
but yeah, can you hear? I think he has a problem. So we will go ahead and probably connect back to Jofel. So Jofel, please tell us also something from what is, are you a professional photographer, or what brought you into photography?
Photography has been my passion, and my curiosity and enthusiasm brought me into this exciting world of photography. My observations, journey, experiences have become sources of my motivation. So now I work as a professional photographer in the Philippines. I'm also connected with the Princess Cruise Lines as a master photographer, and at the same time, I also teach photography subjects in the Polytechnic University of the Philippines. So I'm actually active in my country in terms of sharing images, and I'm also been part of different talks since I want to advocate photography as a powerful medium to express our feelings, our stories, our advocacies, since it's really important. And I do believe that photography is a powerful medium to awaken consciousness and to communicate the significant message, especially we're talking about the nature conservation.
Right, your image is really good. I mean, I was really, it touched us. I think all three of us. Your image. Congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Jofel. So once I got to know your name, I wanted to learn how to pronounce your name correctly. So I went on YouTube and I chanced on your video. Oh. And, I was surprised. This gentleman has won over 250 national and international awards before this.
Yes, I'm actually active in participating in those different competitions. That's why I'm really happy to be part of your meaningful project, the Greenstorm Global Photography Festival. So thank you so much again for this opportunity.
All right, I think Pratap, we are having trouble communicating to the other winners, and so I think we'll let it go. Even though we've not been able to speak to them, but their pictures and their entries have really stood out and have forced the jury in a way to select them. So
George, what is also interesting is the use of technology. I mean, the fact is that today everyone in the world, at least most of them, have mobile photographs with great cameras built in, right? So photography as a medium itself is also sort of defining itself into newer areas. Plus the fact that technology has come in terms of drones and stuff like that, right? Now the picture that Mohammed took, obviously, either it's from a helicopter or from a drone, right? And it's beautiful how you can use that technology to sort of give us a perspective which we couldn't have seen before. I mean, it's a bird's eye view actually of that place, So that's interesting, and with those things you can actually access even more unexplored places of the earth, right?
It offers a very unique perspective when you are able to shoot using a drone, and I think he has actually captured that essence very well in that image.
Yes, and the cropping itself of the image is beautiful, right? In the midst of a snowscape, you have these little squares of color, which is beautiful.
I would have actually loved to learn about that image. I mean, what were his thoughts when he actually went and clicked it, and why did he click it?
Right. I think a bird must have told him about it.
He's coming in. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Come on.
Thank you so very much. Hi, everyone. Forgive me. I don't speak English very well, and I may not understand what you are saying. Anyway, I am glad to be here today. I am proud that my photo from Iran is present in this event. The Greenstorm Photo Festival focuses on the protection of Earth's planet. There is an old example that says, we did not inherit the earth from our fathers. Rather, we have borrowed it from our children. So it's our duty to keep the earth alive. My photo referred to the need to plant new forests and relive the tree planting culture. The location, my photo is from Gilan in Iran. Asalem is a summer region in Iran. Finally, I would like to thank the Greenstorm professional team and hope that the art photography will help save the earth. Thank you, everyone.
Well done, Mohammed.
Congratulations. It's a brilliant image.
Thank you so very much.
I wish we could also hear from Hadi. I am told that he is still on mute. But again, a photograph which actually was a little bit intriguing because you saw this bus with flowers right on top, vegetation all over the place. So we're wondering, is this something which is normally seen? And probably, if you could let us have an idea. Have you seen this before in Iran? What is it that Mohammed, if you have you seen this kind of an image before in this kind of a bus before in Iran, in Tehran?
Yes, I am from Iran, Tehran.
Yeah, did you see that, your Hadi had put a photograph of a bus with flowers on top? So is this something which you normally would see in Tehran?
I cannot speak English very well, and
no problem, no issues, no problems. Your photos are more than compensate for your lack of fluency in English, so don't worry about it at all. Very good.
Excuse me again.
No problem. Michael, was there something that really, not just these 3 photographs, but across the line, there were among the 25 and even the 50 that you were first looking at, was there something which really attracted you, some attributes?
Yes, for sure. I mean, there's so many spectacular photographs, and it became harder and harder the deeper we looked into it, select and try to, separate out what we consider the best. There were so many best images. And I don't know, as I see these 3 images, I'm struck by that there's a kind of mystery in all 3 of them. There's something that's unexplained, and that's what's so compelling about it. Surely the bus image, we wonder, where is this bus and why is it so spectacularly outfitted with these gorgeous flowers, living flowers on top of a otherwise rather dully colored scene, and where is this and what are the social implications? And of course, the shadow effect, Jofel, on your piece is a mystery. Although we can kind of interpret and make our narratives of it, fundamentally there's a mystery aspect to it, and which you've caught with light and shadow. It's very beautiful. And then Mohammed, your piece from above is a mystery also. How could there be such spectacular green evergreen trees in the middle of this large natural forest landscape? So it's intriguing that we open up questions with this work rather than merely state, objectives, let's say.
Michael, while you were telling us, we had actually Hadi messaging us. His internet is not that great and therefore is actually unable to come visually on. So he's been able to hear whatever we have said, and he has also been messaging the chairman of the jury about the photograph that he had taken. Probably, Pratap, you could come on the photograph of Hadi.
No, I'm actually trying to get Hadi to speak. So we haven't had an extensive conversation yet. So he says this bus was decorated on the occasion of Nowruz in Iran. So I guess it's a festival or something like that. Nowruz sounds very similar to New Year.
Yeah.
You used to have the Parsi New Year, Nowruz.
Yeah, correct.
Yes.
It must be that. Anyway, Persian, Parsi connection is very much there.
All right, I think we've slightly exceeded our time, and I must thank all of you. It was indeed a very interesting and learning experience for all of us. Thank you, winners, and special thanks to our very respected jury members for the many hours that you have volunteered for this project. I now call upon our Executive Council member, Dr. Krishna Kumar, to thank on behalf of the foundation, all those who have supported us. Yes, Doctor.
Thank you, sir. The famous fashion photographer David Bailey remarked, "It takes a lot of imagination to be a good photographer. You need less imagination to be a painter because you can invent things. But in photography, everything is so ordinary that it takes a lot of looking before you learn to see the extraordinary." And I do think that the winning images that you saw today is a perfect example of this particular statement. A pleasant evening to one and all of you present here. The two most engaging powers of a photograph are to make new things familiar and familiar things new. Nature is the best teacher, and discovering nature is the journey of self-discovery itself. Now, coming to my duty assigned, it was a great honor to have the Honorable Member of Parliament, Dr. Tharoor, as our chief guest of the day. His words have always inspired and motivated people of all ages. Thank you so much, sir, for being the most important part of this event. A camera is a save button for the mind's eye. I take this opportunity to place on record our humble gratitude to the jury members, Mr. Pratap Suthan, Mr. Michael Little, and Ms. Aishwarya Sridhar, for taking out their time for the meticulous analysis of the photographs. Thank you on behalf of Greenstorm Foundation. No program is complete without the support of generous hearts. At this juncture, I would like to stress upon the support given to us by our sponsors. Thanks to our green partners. Thanks a ton for Muthoot Papachan Group, Asset Homes, Noel Builders, Verma Homes, and SEMS Group. Volunteers from Team Organic, they need a special mention because they have been working day in and day out to get this event as well as this photographic competition to make it a great success. Thank you, Team Organic. I take this opportunity to congratulate the prize winners and also the 3,519 entries that had come and which has made this event possible and an event a great success. Thanking one and all once again, let me conclude by this quote: take nothing but pictures, leave nothing but footprints, and kill nothing but time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Krishna Kumar. And Dr. Krishna Kumar is also a very good photographer and has a lot of fans in the place where he comes from, Thrissur. So thank you, Dr. Krishna Kumar, and thank you all viewers. To know more about the activities of our foundation, do visit our website, greenstorm.green. Maybe you could be the winner at the 14th edition of this global photography event. Thank you once again, and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you and congratulations.